When we bring on a customer, we have all of their menu data in our system so that at the end of the evening, when they have surplus food that they would otherwise put in the landfill, they can now request a pickup. Our platform will inventory everything that they're donating, tell them the tax value of that food at the time of donation, as well as measure the weight of that food so that we can provide for them environmental outputs, like how many gallons of water they're saving and how much carbon dioxide and methane gas that we're keeping out of the environment. And we see ourselves largely as a waste management company, so we're making money just like Waste Management and Republic Solid do. We're charging customers a volume-based fee for service based on how often we're coming out and how much food we're recovering, and we're drastically helping them reduce their waste bill, plus get valuable tax donations to get this food to communities in need. So we're really excited.
That's an interesting thing. You just hit on a couple of things. You say you've saved about $1.2 million for companies. That is partly because they log a charitable donation for the value of the food that they donate. It is also because it reduces their waste bill. And also because you use blockchain to help companies understand where they may be over-ordering food so that in the future they don't order surplus that then goes in either the trash or to you.
Exactly. So by giving the customers this data, they're able to see trends and things that aren't so popular to their customers, and they can actually stop the source reduction, which really comes in first on the EPA's food hierarchy chart. But number two is actually feeding hungry people, and that's really where Goodr comes in. And we're using blockchain to ensure the delivery of that food to a nonprofit organization. And why that's important is because if the IRS ever comes to any of our customers and says, how is it that you're writing off $1 million in food donations? We now have this secure ledger that shows every time they entered food for donation, when Goodr recovered it, and when that nonprofit accepted it.
Haven't you also, though, set up a system where you're actually going to get less food eventually? I mean, your customers pay you to take away the food, right?
Exactly.
Eventually, you're providing them data that, in theory, means you're going to take away less of it.
You know, our hope is definitely, like most social good companies, is that we're able to work ourselves out of business. But one of the things that we do see is that there's really not a lot of predictability in large-scale food service. So if you take, for example, the convention center, 15,000 people may buy a ticket, so they're going to prepare lunch for that many people because they have to. But that doesn't mean that all 15,000 are going to show up to lunch. So there's always an excess amount of food that we're helping businesses find value in and repurpose. So
your revenue comes from fees or charges that you collect from the donors of food. You go to the places, whether it's Hartsfield or the Congress Center or Turner, and you package up the food and take it to organizations that can distribute it either in a pop-up fashion or they have a food kitchen. Am I understanding that right?
And do those charities
pay? You're understanding it perfectly.
Do those charities
pay for that food? We do not charge the charities.
No.
We do not charge the charities.
Do you have national ambitions, Jasmine, in terms of rolling this out to other cities?
Absolutely, we do. We're looking at several cities right now, including Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Miami. And we actually are looking at market, which customers that we believe we can service the best are there. And then, of course, need. How many people in that city are actually experiencing hunger that we have the power to help?
You know, the data application is very, very cool. But I wonder if in this day and age, it's almost the easier part. We've seen here in New York City, for example, food distribution companies that are very innovative with their apps and being able to, and then the distribution part is what gets them in trouble. What's harder for you? Was it creating the concept and the app and the digital backbone, or is it the managing the trucks and the people and the et cetera, actually execute the plan?
Yeah, the logistics is definitely a challenge, but it's one that we're working really hard to overcome. And we're building a very robust enterprise software solution that actually follows these trucks from the time they're picking the food up to delivery, and creating a route logistics system that makes sure that we're taking the most efficient routes. One of the cool things about Goodr is we keep the food very centralized to where we pick it up from. So we're not passing 100 nonprofits to get to one. We're finding nonprofits in nearby areas that we can get that food to immediately.
So Jasmine, my notes say that you once experienced food insecurity. You and I didn't talk before this. I don't know what that means. What was your experience? Were you hungry?
Yeah, my experience? I did not grow up hungry or experience hunger myself, but one of my very close friends did. And I think having experienced that firsthand, it really shifted perspective for me, because for years I was feeding members of our homeless community, and I didn't understand that the face of hunger was readily changing. And so when I experienced it with a friend of mine that was college educated, married, had really defied all the odds, had worked a successful career, but just couldn't make make ends meet, was struggling with hunger, I think it just changed everything for me.
Right.
And it made me become way more focused on solving these problems.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.